Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Call of Duty Warzone video. In this video we're going to compare the GRAU 556 to the new AN94 that just released with Season 5. In this video we're going to break down the stats and the overall feel of both of the guns to see which one is actually the best. Before we get into the details, we know that the majority of you watching this video are not subscribed to the channel yet, so if you don't want to miss out on any other weapon comparisons and any more Season 5 content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on. And if this video can get 50 likes, we'll make a new video of the top 10 best guns inside Warzone in Season 5. So getting straight into the stats, we have the AN94 on the left and the GRAU 556 on the right. We can see that the headshot damage is not too different, but the body shot damage on the AN94 is definitely much better than the GRAU, especially since the GRAU got nerfed. Another thing to take note of is that the GRAU 556 has a 750 rounds per minute fire rate, which is definitely much higher than the AN94. However, the time to kill for both of these guns is very similar, especially at close and medium range, but once it gets to longer ranges, the AN94 definitely performs better. We can see the GRAU 556 has less damage drop-off points, and that's what made it so good before it got nerfed. Anything up to the 75 meter range, you're going to want to use the GRAU because it performs so much better. However, after 75 meters, you'd rather be using the AN94 as it does have a lower time to kill. The base magazine size, the aim down sight time and the reload time is very similar with both of these guns, so nothing really separates them here. In terms of overall mobility, both guns are very similar, so you won't really see much of a difference here either. And now since the GRAU's been nerfed, it's no longer the best gun for long range combat, and it also is no longer the best gun for close range combat either, because some of the other assault rifles perform much better. But to see which one of these two guns are the best at long range, we need to take a look at the recoil patterns. But before we do that, we need to show you what class setups we compared. So for the AN94, we had the following class setup. We had the factory barrel, the monolithic suppressor, the commando foregrip, the 60 round mags and the hollow sight. And for the GRAU, we had the usual attachment combination but with a VLK optic. So both of these attachment combinations are made up so we can test what the maximum possible range for both of these guns are. And this is the type of loadout most people are going to use inside Warzone, as you need to make sure you can get those long range kills. You might not use this exact setup yourself, but this is just to make sure our testing was fair. So now we know the attachments, let's take a look at how accurate both of these guns actually are with the recoil patterns. On the very left of the screen you can see the recoil with no attachments, down the middle is the recoil with the recommended attachments, and at the very right is the recoil with the recommended attachments, but me trying to control the actual recoil. And that should give you a better representation of how the actual recoil works in game when you try to control it yourself. A couple of things to mention is as you fire the AN94, the first two bullets are fired at a slightly higher rate of fire. And with the GRAU, as you fire it for longer periods of time, the recoil actually increases. So as we can see on the very left, both of these guns do not have the best recoil pattern, but if I had to pick one, I would actually pick the AN94 at the moment. I do think it's better for the horizontal bounce than the GRAU. If we look down the middle with the recommended attachments, it seems as if the GRAU does do a lot better than the AN94 in terms of how much vertical recoil there is, but in terms of the overall pattern, it is pretty much the same. They both go diagonally upwards and to the right, which is quite easy to manage. Now, as we can see with the controlled recoil, it looks as if the GRAU does perform a bit better, which is the case. So still at longer ranges, you'll still be able to fire the GRAU a bit better than the AN94, but remember to keep in mind that the AN94 does do a bit more damage, so for each bullet you land, you are doing more damage than the GRAU. So it ends up being pretty much the same. If you rather land more shots and do less damage, then you choose the GRAU. But if you don't mind missing some shots and you'd rather do higher damage, then you'd choose the AN94. In my opinion, I think the AN94 will take over the GRAU for most people. There's not a massive enough difference in the recoil patterns to choose the GRAU, and then the AN94 does do much more damage, so it is more forgiving if you're firing shots and missing them. And especially at those longer ranges, this is where the AN94 performs the best. So given the current situation with the GRAU, I think most people will choose the AN94 instead. Get this video to 50 likes and we'll make that top 10 best guns of Season 5 video. Also, if you're new here, subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.